Intermittent fasting absolutely sucks. And if you've done intermittent fasting before and either didn't get results or you got results for a little bit, but then you hit a plateau, you started feeling tired and hangry all day long, and then you fell off, rebounded, gained all the weight back and more, this video is for you because I'm going to show you what you should do instead, why it works so much better, and I'm going to explain why intermittent fasting did not work for you. Even though maybe you've seen some people online who it did work for, for every person that it does work for, 99% of people, it works poorly. And I myself actually gave intermittent fasting a second chance. Now look, I've been lifting for 16 years and I've tried every diet under the sun, and every single time I do fasting, energy levels go down, bloating goes up, muscle goes down, fat goes up. But I decided to give it a second chance because I wanted to put the nail in the coffin. I tightly controlled the macros. I ate the exact same 2,700 calories, 250 to 300 protein, 250 to 300 carbs, and 45 to 60 fats a day, which was my perfect bodybuilding macros for cutting while still being able to stay lean, full, strong, good energy, good performance, good mood. And when I tried it, my mood plummeted. My energy levels went down. My bloating went up. I got fat and lost muscle. I actually gained 3 to 4 pounds, yet I felt weaker. I mean, of course, the first 1 to 2 weeks I felt good on it, but for the remaining 6 weeks of my 2 months experiment, everything went downhill. And there's a couple reasons for this. Number one, intermittent fasting can slow your metabolism down because you're missing out on the metabolism boosting benefits of having a steady flow of protein and complex carbs in your diet. When you store all of your calories and macros for the day in a couple small meal or a couple big meals in that small window of time, you end up actually really messing up your digestion, getting bloated, getting lethargic, feeling hungry and inconsistent with your energy and hormones all day long during the fast, and this is part of what causes all of the side effects. And look, I've been lifting for 16 years. I've tried every diet under the sun, and as a natural bodybuilder, as a dad, as a business owner, I can't afford to be suboptimal with my energy and my focus. Likewise, I've worked with hundreds of clients, and with every single client, at least 3 meals a day, usually 3 meals a day and 1 to 2 snacks, works way better. For myself, 6 meals a day. As soon as I switched off intermittent fasting back on my 5 to 6 bodybuilding meals a day, my energy levels skyrocketed. I felt amazing. My body started to transform rapidly. I lost fat, lost the bloating, looked shredded again, gained muscle back, was able to increase my training frequency and train harder, yet still recover from it and enjoy the process more and just feel amazing. And this is why I want to share this with you so you know exactly why intermittent fasting has failed you and exactly how to fix all of the side effects that you faced. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to break down the 3 main problems with intermittent fasting, why they're problems, and why this doesn't work for you if you're a busy professional, father, somebody who is demanded to have high performance energy and good mood, focus, stable energy all day long, aka a high performing father, whether you're working a lot of hours, having a bunch of kids, or both, and trying to have a good physique, be healthy, everything else. We're going to show exactly why specifically for you, intermittent fasting is not the optimal protocol and why 3 to 6 meals a day is better, and then how to apply it to your life and what's going to be the benefits once you do. So the first problem with intermittent fasting is that it messes up your performance, mood, recovery, and metabolism. When you do intermittent fasting, the first week or two, you're going to be running on cortisol, which is going to temporarily make you feel more high energy. However, once your body realizes that this fasting period is going to persist for a much longer period of time, your body starts to feel low energy because you're underfueled. It starts to slow metabolism down to compensate for the starvation and extended periods of starvation that you're putting yourself through. And so you start feeling really stressed out. You start crashing midday. You start having brain fog and you can't perform at work. When you're praying, you have trouble focusing, and when you work out, you feel weak. And then when you come home to your family, you're too tired after a long draining day running on fumes. You binge eat, overeat, get fat, get bloated, pass out on the couch, can't play with your kids. And this is why intermittent fasting is not practical for your lifestyle and my lifestyle as busy professionals and fathers. Now, the benefit to increasing your meal frequency and doing 3 to 6 meals a day or doing 3 meals and 1 to 2 snacks is now you're getting multiple spikes of protein synthesis throughout the day, provided that you're obviously eating the right things like I teach in my other videos, which is protein, complex carbs, keeping the fats low. What happens now is your blood sugar is way more stable, your hormones are way more stable, your cortisol, your stress hormone doesn't end up skyrocketing and then crashing, and so your energy levels are much more stable during the day, your muscular recovery is better, your muscles are being metabolically stimulated, which then increases your metabolism, helps your body burn more calories. Even if you're eating the same amount of calories, you're going to have so much more energy that you're actually going to be burning fat instead of feeling tired, low energy, messed up, stressed out, and all the other problems with intermittent fasting. And the beautiful thing is that when you eat moderate quantities of carbs per meal, instead of stuffing a bunch of carbs into one meal, your body digests and assimilates it much better. Same for protein, which means that instead of getting bloated when you eat carbs, your body's actually going to be able to assimilate it as muscle glycogen, which is going to result in muscular fullness, where your muscles look full and pumped, but your stomach looks slim and shredded once you get down to a sufficiently low body fat percentage, because your body is able to take those smaller 30 to 50 grams of carbs per meal. Instead, you have to stack 100 plus grams of carbs in a single meal. And instead of, again, getting bloated because you ate 100 plus grams of carbs, that 30 to 50 grams of carbs digests, assimilates, your blood sugar is stable, your muscle glycogen gets that storage, and you don't get bloated. And likewise, the protein doesn't get stuck in your digestion and poorly absorbed, but instead you're spiking protein synthesis all day long, which is metabolically stimulating to your muscles and to your entire system. As a result of this, you're going to have stable energy, no more brain fog. You're going to be in a better mood, which makes you a better father, better focused at work, and most importantly, better focused in your prayers. And as I mentioned, you're going to have a faster metabolism because your body is not in survival mode. Again, when you starve yourself all day long, your body restricts energy levels to compensate for the lack of calories coming in after that initial stress response that first 1 to 2 weeks, which is why people have more energy the first 1 to 2 weeks on IF before they crash. And then, because you're starving all day long, when you do eat, your body goes into storage mode, especially because it's not getting digested properly, so your body just stuffs it all away as fat, and so your belly just gets bigger and bigger. But when you spread it out, digestion, absorption, energy is good, and so this is much better. Now, the second problem with intermittent fasting and OMAD, aka 1 meal a day, and all that stuff is that when you stuff all your calories in one meal, it doesn't just cause digestive issues, but it also makes you ravenously hungry. What happens is that if you've been starving all day long and you're supposed to eat a certain amount of food or certain types of food, but there are temptations around you, whether the family made unhealthy food, there's unhealthy snacks in the pantry, whatever it is, you're way more prone to binge eating because you've been starving all day long. And I speak from experience on this. I am literally a fitness professional who's been doing this for 16 years and helped hundreds of people lose weight. Yet even for me, it's hard to control myself if I've been starving myself all day long to not eat the sweets and snacks that my kid might have in the pantry, or some leftover desserts or junk food from whatever it is, or if a family member offers me some food or whatever it is, it's way easier to binge eat. Even if I'm at a restaurant, I order certain things, it's way easier to justify, oh yeah, I fasted all day so I could eat dessert and I have the calorie room for it, I'm hungry and I kind of want it anyways. So you see, we as human beings, we're not rational beings, we're rationalizing beings. We will do what we feel like and then logically explain backwards why we did what we did, even if it was completely irrational. And so when you binge eat at night, it messes up your sleep, you feel guilty, you feel bloated, gassy, sluggish, and then the next day this affects your energy levels even further. And so this is really not sustainable because you feel punished by food instead of being fueled by it. Instead, when we spread our calories into 5 to 6 bodybuilding style meals a day or 3 meals with 1 to 2 snacks, provided that you're eating healthy complex carbs and lean proteins that digest well, like I teach in all of my other videos, you manage your hunger, you keep your digestion smooth, and you actually look forward to eating instead of dreading this cycle of feast and famine where you only have this brief window to eat and then you're starving for the rest of the day. When you spread your calories the way that I teach, you're gonna have better sleep because your stomach doesn't feel heavy at night. You're gonna feel satiated instead of being crazy, hungry, and ravenous at the time that you finally get to eat. And this is gonna be a lot easier to stick to long term so your results don't disappear. Now, the third problem with intermittent fasting is that it interferes with muscular recovery, growth, and longevity. Fasting starves your muscles of protein for hours, and studies have actually shown that getting protein in the morning within 30 to 60 minutes of waking is important, not only for muscular recovery, protein synthesis, but even for cognitive performance. Would you send your kids to school without breakfast because fasting is supposed to increase your energy? No. Studies have shown that when people don't eat breakfast, their cognitive performance declines on tasks, which is why it's so important that your kids have a good breakfast before school, and you would be considered a terrible parent if you starve your kids in the morning because you're trying to force them to do intermittent fasting because it's more optimal. So why are you doing the same thing to yourself? When you're chronically fasting, your body is in a catabolic state as opposed to an anabolic state, which the intermittent fasting gurus tell you, oh, this is going to help you burn more fat, but in reality, you actually burn more muscle, okay? Your body has a mechanism for storing fat, it has a mechanism for storing carbs, but it doesn't have a mechanism for storing protein. Some people say, oh, well, it stores protein in the muscles. Well, that's like saying you're storing wood in a house, okay? To borrow an example from Lane Norton in his video on the importance of breakfast. But you don't store the protein in the muscle to be pulled out and used to break down muscle, because that would be like breaking down the wood of your house for the purpose of using wood. No, instead, you need a steady intake of wood if you're trying to build a house or expand your house. And likewise, you need a steady intake of protein if you want to have healthy, strong muscles, and you want to have the healthy metabolism that comes from that, because muscle mass is a metabolically active tissue, especially when you're feeding it protein and carbs all day long. So we want to keep our muscle instead of breaking it down for protein during the fast, which is why you need a steady intake of protein to spike that protein synthesis and keep everything running smooth with your metabolism, with everything else. And again, this is why when you do intermittent fasting, your recovery slows down, most people lose muscle, and your metabolism tanks. When I was doing my intermittent fasting experiment, randomly my knees were hurting, my shoulder was hurting, and this was because even though I was still eating close to 300 grams of protein a day, that protein was not digesting and assimilating optimally, and so as a result, the protein needed for collagen resynthesis in my knees and my shoulders and everything else was lacking, and so I started to get pains in these areas, even though I was still doing all my mobility routines and all this other stuff that I normally normally do. So like I said, instead of destroying my muscles, which is why I lost muscle during this 2-month experiment, you got to be feeding the muscle all day long. So within 30 to 60 minutes of waking, get your first serving of protein and get 3 to 6 servings of protein throughout the day. Where you're constantly hitting that protein flow, you get a morning feeding of protein, a mid-morning, a midday, a mid-afternoon, an evening spike of protein, and then even a late night spike of protein if you need to eat some Greek yogurt before bed. Your body and your muscles are being fed all day long. And then during the night, yes, your digestion is going to clean out all that stuff. And then in the morning, because you've been starved of protein for that whole 7 hours of sleep, get that protein in first thing in the morning. You repeat that process day in and day out. And if that's not sustainable for you, just do 3 meals a day, a morning meal, a midday meal, and an evening meal. If you got hungry for a snack, have a protein snack, boom. You get 90% of the benefits of spreading out your protein intake, minus all the drawbacks of intermittent fasting and minus the inconvenience of having to eat 6 meals a day. Again, you don't have to be as extreme as me and eat 6 meals a day. I live and breathe this stuff. This is literally my job, is to be a fitness expert and coach. And so as a result, I am able to optimize my lifestyle for that. But even then, I am a business owner. Some days I got 12 hours of meetings. I am a father. I take my kid to school, I pick him up from school, and I spend quality time with him every single day. So at the end of the day, it actually is realistic to eat every 3 hours, even if you're a busy professional and business owner like myself. But if you don't feel like it's realistic for you yet, maybe you're a beginner, which I totally understand. Literally, the 3 meals a day and 1 to 2 snacks is what I put most of my clients on. Even busy executives who are working 80 hours a week, even busy surgeons who are doing these long shifts till like 1 a.m., even these doctors who have on calls for 26 hours, even these guys who are at a desk for 16 hours on meetings or programming or doing accounting. I have clients from all sorts of busy professional fields, and every single one of them, 3 meals a day, 1 to 2 snacks, optimal protocol. Even the most busy doctors, I at least get them on 3 meals a day, and the results are so much better. In fact, the funny thing is that I have something that I literally call doctor syndrome, because so many doctors have come to me doing this intermittent fasting where they don't eat all day because they don't have time, and then they binge at night and they just get fatter and fatter, versus by me forcing them to at least do a protein shake in the morning, at least have a protein-rich snack at lunchtime, and then eat dinner where their appetite's more controlled, and ideally maybe have a protein snack before they come home so they don't binge. Literally, I've had dozens of doctors lose 20 plus pounds, keep it off for the long term, dramatically improve their energy levels and quality of life, and finally be the picture of health that a doctor's supposed to be instead of a fat guy. Literally, I had this doctor came to me at 260 pounds, lost almost 50 pounds. Patients who haven't seen him in months are seeing him, just blown away by his transformation, and his whole life has improved. He's playing basketball again, even though he's older now and he has kids and whatnot. So mashallah, Allahumma barak. This stuff works even for busy older doctors. Likewise, I have another client who's a doctor in his 50s with 5 kids, busy cardiologist, mashallah, Allahumma barak. And for him, he had been trying to get under 200 pounds for years and years and years and was so frustrated that he'd given up. Now that he's joined our program, he lost 20 pounds in 90 days and he's almost lost 25 pounds. He's almost down to 185, which was a dream number for him, literally as a doctor in his 50s with 5 kids. So I don't care if you're in your 30s or 40s, you have no excuse. This protocol works, it's realistic, it's implementable. When there's a will, there's a way, so you need to find a way instead of finding an excuse. But I know how you feel, because for me, part of the appeal of intermittent fasting that justified this 2-month experiment was because it seemed easier and more convenient. But I'm telling you right now that that convenience is costing you. And sometimes in life, if you want to get a result, you got to have the discipline and put in the effort. So literally, I'm telling you right now, 3 meals a day, 1 to 2 snacks, it's going to change your life. And if you can do 6 meals a day, great. If you can't, no worries. Most of my clients, again, 3 meals a day, 1 to 2 snacks, changes their life. Now, if you're watching this right now and you're a busy dad and professional in your 30s, 40s, or 50s, and you want to lose at least 20 pounds in the next 90 days, our average 200-pound man who comes into our program in his 30s or 40s loses 26 pounds in 90 days. If you want that to be you, I'm going to attach a link in the description to my coaching, so tap the link in the description for one-to-one coaching, and inshallah, we look forward to showing you how to do this the right way and getting you the best results of your life. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.